Hi, this is Doug Jackson from $100 Duck Productions, and I'm designing a training where I need to use a visual to support the portion of the training that reviews how we learn and how we unlearn fear. I wanted to use a starburst with fearful colors with the word fear in front of it, and I couldn't find a starburst that looked like what I wanted to use, so I figured out how to create my own. There are 4 steps to producing this graphic. First, we have to generate the starburst. Secondly, we have to create a 12-pointed star. Then we have to create a clipping path that gives the star the starburst background. And finally, we'll add text. This is what we'll wind up with. We'll start by opening a new file in Photoshop. Here are the foreground settings. And we'll switch over and show you the background color settings. We want red as the foreground setting, and then we'll press Alt Backspace to fill with the foreground color. And then we'll press Ctrl J to create a duplicate layer. We create the duplicate because we never mess with the original. And then select the gradient tool. If you don't see the gradient tool, remember that it sometimes hides under the paint bucket tool, so you'll have to press the triangle at the bottom right to be able to see the gradient tool. Select Filter, select Wave. The default settings under Wave are generally okay, except under Type. The default for that is going to be Sign, and that would definitely not work. You want to click on the square radio button. Go back to Filter, and this time click on Polar Coordinates. Rectangular to Polar is the default setting, but make sure that one is clicked. Back to Filter, choose Lighting Effects, and under Light Type, be sure to choose Omni. That's also not the default, so you're going to have to choose it from the drop-down. Choose Polygon from the Shapes toolkit. Remember that the default here is for the rectangle, so you may have to press the triangle at the bottom right in order to find the polygon. And note here in the options that I've increased the number of sides from the default of 5 the whole way up to 12. And then hold the Shift key down and pull the star till it expands to cover the entire space. Right-click on the icon for the shape that you just created and select Rasterize Layer. Then double-click on the shape icon, which brings up the blending options. Please note here that none of the choices in the left-hand panel are selected. We're going to move the star layer down beneath the starburst layer. This is actually important in order to make the clipping mask work. Then click on the starburst layer, right-click, and choose Create Clipping Mask. Click on the eye icon for the bottom layer to hide that layer. While holding down the Shift key, click on the first 2 layers so that both of them are selected, and then press Ctrl E to combine the 2 layers. Press Ctrl J to create a duplicate of the new star layer that we just made. And now we're going to rotate that top layer by 45 degrees, which will give us a 24-pointed star. Click Edit, and then Transform, and then Rotate. We're going to reduce the opacity of the top layer by 15%. So with the top layer chosen, click on the opacity button and reduce to 85%. And now we're going to add the word fear. Click on the text tool, click on FX, select Stroke, 3 pixels is actually much too strong a stroke. Let's move the window so that you can see what's going on. We'll reduce the stroke to 2 pixels, choose Bevel and Emboss, and then Contour. Select the Select tool so that we can move the text and center it in the graphic. And now we're ready to save our PNG file. Click on File and choose Save for Web. The default settings are fine here. In fact, they're excellent. So click on Save. And here we're naming the file. Which gives us our final graphic, which we can use to demonstrate the following fear learning, fear unlearning sequence. Youth encounters dog. Dog does not bite. Reaction, neutral. Youth encounters second dog. Dog bites. Reaction, fear. Youth encounters first dog. Dog does not bite. Reaction, fear. So the fear learning has become generalized to all dogs. Under careful supervision, the youth enters a room with the dog on a leash and stays for a very short time. Result, slightly less fear. Under continued supervision, youth encounters dog for a slightly longer time. Result, even less fear. Another session for a slightly longer time. Result, significantly less fear. Another session for a slightly longer time. Result, very little fear. Another session after the youth practices recognizing pictures of aggressive and non-aggressive dogs. Result, neutral. Thanks for watching this tutorial. I hope that you've learned something about creating a starburst, using a clipping path, and maybe even something about cognitive behavioral exposure therapy.